Thor's hammer and working that.
Yep.
So I'm going after a whole new target. And honestly, I haven't had to do that in a long time. I've had good friends that were producing. And
Right.
I can tell now that their business is changing. There's a lot of them doing more listings, more builder deals. So, I'm trying to work it differently than what I've ever had to. So, that and that's been it's working. I mean, I've got some great new contacts and realtors that I think know, like, and trust me at this point. So, just waiting for that to kick in and keep working it.
Okay.
So
let me ask you a question. Do you have any other avenue of business that you actively and proactively seek out, or are realtors your only source?
Realtors are my main source, but my past database is also my sphere of business, really. Because I've done that for so long.
Yeah.
So, but with what they say you should get, I really quite haven't realized that, my mailings and whatnot. But every mailing I do accomplish, a few buyers here and there, or refinances or whatnot. So, I have to say it's successful for the amount of money that, that you spend just on, I spend about $600 in postage alone mailing to my past database.
Right. So here, let me share with you a strategy that I use that I found very effective. And by no means is this the only way to approach it, but it really worked for me. And I think when you get to a point in your business where you've been doing it long enough, and I've been in the business since '96, and I don't know how long you've been in the business, but I believe that your client base is for a large number of people that I talk to, it's a very large untapped resource. I'm a very lazy originator. Like, I don't really want to go out there and hustle. I've been doing it. I did it for so long that I really got to the point where I'm like, ugh, I don't really want to go hustle for a new business. How can I accomplish my financial goals without working that hard? Does that sound like anybody we know?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not used to having to do it. I don't know that I don't like to do it. I just haven't had to. So
in a long time, it's hard to change gears. It really is. Right. So I woke up, and this was and I broke my business down to the lowest common denominator, and that was I had to come into my business every day seeking one thing, and that was I needed a referral once a day. My goal was to generate 30 referrals a month, and my drive every day was I wanted to come into the office and be productive, and the definition of productive was I need to get a referral. I don't care where I got it from, I just needed to get a referral, which my definition of a referral is talking to somebody who needs my services and who I've explained what I do for a living and how I can help them. That's my definition. Now, when I look at where my sources of business came from, I looked at it like a table. I had 4 or 5 legs that were supporting my business, and I had to choose which one of those pillars of business I wanted to go after every day. So I had my financial planners, my financial planners, my realtors, my current clients, my past clients, my friends, and so forth. So I had a different strategy for each of those pillars. Anytime that I felt like I wasn't getting, or anytime that I looked at what I call my lead tracker, every time I looked at that, if I wasn't averaging a referral a day, I knew that I had to analyze my business for the month and really pick up the slack. And to me, my go-to was always my database. So I realized that every day, if I wasn't making at least 3 to 5 phone calls a day to my database, and my database was, I probably had 1,200 people in there, but that 90-10 rule applies. 90% of all the business that I got from my database came from 10% of my database. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's that select group of people that I called my A clients. So my A clients were always the ones that I picked up the phone and talked to. My B's and C's were the ones that always got my newsletter bi-monthly, every other month. And so I did generate 63% of my closed loan volume, and I did just a hair under 15 million in 2012 when I stopped originating. 63% of my closed loan volume for that year came from my current and past clients. So I didn't really do what Carl White and all those other people talk about. I didn't have 35 touches a year. I talked to my clients, my A clients, I talked to them at least once or twice a year, and I did a bi-monthly newsletter. That was all I did. And I got tremendous amounts of result from it because I always picked up the phone and I communicated with my clients. Now, what you say to your clients can be a whole different strategy. My strategy was really simple. In my business, I always, do you know who Erin Bradley is by chance?
Yes. Yep.
She wrote this book. Yep. She wrote this book, and I've got it sitting on my desk. But it's funny because she spoke to something that I did just naturally in my business. So I had this business card holder in my office, and it had 50 business cards on it, and it was this plastic little business card holder that sat on my wall. And every time I met with a client, I made a point of them sitting down in my office, and that's how I did my business. And I know it's not the same these days, but my clients met with me. They would always eventually look up at that wall of business cards, and it would bring me to the conversation of, these are who I trust. I have a business model called the Triangle of Trust, which is what I use to describe my business to my clients. And it gave me a chance to showcase all 50 of these people who did a variety of different things, from HVAC to plumbing to landscaping to cement to whatever it was. It was just a collection of people that I gathered up over the years. But every time I called my past client, I didn't call them because I was seeking out a mortgage. I called my past clients because I was trying to be a connector. Especially in the first year, it was always the follow-up call was, how's the new house working? I'm sure you guys have got a lot of ideas and a lot of things that you want to do. Do you remember that wall of business cards that I had? I would love to introduce you to somebody who I consider to be a friend, who I know will take great care of you like I did. And it was amazing that every time I left a message or I planted a seed like that, I always got something in return. And that something in return was gratitude. I always got a thank you, or I appreciate the phone call, or I appreciate the follow-up. And it always gave me a chance to say, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Kramer, do me a favor. You remember that my business grows with referrals. I'm counting on you to refer me to somebody you care about. Please don't keep me a secret. That was it. And I mined my database daily. So my question in a roundabout way is, do you have a strategy that your database becomes a consistent, repeatable, projectable source of income for you every single year? Because you've spent a lot of time building it. You've built a tremendous reputation. I'm wondering if you have a specific strategy that you can pick up the phone and go, okay, I know every year my strategy guarantees me X amount in revenue. And if your realtors start to slip off, or if you decide to switch gears and clean house and go a different direction, at least you have that database of people that you can count on for a certain amount of income.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Good idea to, do I have a strategy? No, I mean, that's not, other than calling and, just hello, calls and basically my mailers,
Okay. So when you call your past clients, let's work on that a little bit. And so for whoever's on the call with us today, I want you guys to really pay attention to one of the greatest low-hanging fruits that our business neglects almost daily. And that is, we've built a reputation around how we work, why we work a certain way, and the past clients of ours, they like us. They know us. Just because we haven't talked to them in a while doesn't mean they don't remember us or care about us. We're just not top of mind. And if we answer this question, how many people does one person care about in their life? My guess on average is about 10. I don't want to know who you know. I want you to think about the people you care about. And the people they care about is on average about 10 people. So for every person I called in my database and reminded them so that I stayed top of mind, that was 3 to 5 people a day. That was 30 to 50 people that I was getting at least a connection potentially with. It didn't happen all the time, but the goodness of the phone call wasn't about, hey, who do you know that you can refer me? It was, I was planting a seed, seeking out gratitude, like I was trying to provide value, or I brought value to them. They may not have needed it at the time, but they appreciated the phone call. And sometimes the conversations were more family-oriented or life-oriented, or for me, I'm a car guy. It was car stuff. But at the end of the call, it always yielded a note of gratitude, and that note of gratitude was my key to say, please don't keep me a secret. Remember, I'm counting on you to refer me to the people you care about, which isn't salesy, it isn't gimmicky, it's a genuine request because you've added value to their life in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just thinking about them. So my challenge to you guys on the call today is really this. If you're not happy with the results that you're getting from your realtors, there are 3 to 4 other pillars that you can approach every single day to generate opportunities with. So often we get so tunnel focused on just agents that we miss out on our current clients, our past clients, our financial planners, our CPAs, and our attorneys. And to that I say, when you come into your business every day, if your goal is to generate 1 quality referral a day, if you've got 30 consistent referrals a month, you would not be short in business, because I believe there's a 30 to 35% conversion ratio that happens, and I've managed that over my career. In the LOs that I coach, it's about right. Every month, if you generate 10 referrals, you probably will close about 3 of them in the next probably 60 to 90 days. So if your business is slow, if your business isn't generating the results that you're hoping for, then my question is, let's start diversifying our approach and analyze our business and go, we have 5 different paths to take today. All we need is 1 quality referral. My question is, which one makes the most sense for you? And let's develop a strategy around it.
Sounds good.
So if you had a choice today, if you wanted to generate 1 quality referral today, where do you think you could almost guarantee that you'd get it from?
My pet database.
I agree with you, because your database already knows you, likes you, and trusts you, don't they?
Absolutely.
And you're not calling them to sell yourself, are you?
No, not at all.
You're calling them to make a deposit in somebody's life. It's kind of like getting a handwritten card in the mail. You know how we do those thank you cards? It's nice to get a phone call from somebody that is just thinking about you. And I'm willing to bet you, Sue, you would have 0 issue picking up the phone and calling 5 of your past clients and just saying, I was thinking about you today. I don't have any particular reason why. I just, your name jumped into me and I just remember you, and I wanted to say how much I valued working with you. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. How's your summer going? Any trips, anything go? And the goal with that is really to find a way to fill a need. Everybody's got something. Maybe it's just lending an ear. Maybe it's giving a little bit of advice. You're probably an amazing conversationalist, probably better than I ever was. But the fact that you can communicate to 3 to 5 of your past clients a day lends yourself to expanding your brand to anywhere between 30 to 50 people who you haven't even thought of could be using a mortgage. And all you need to do is remain top of mind with your past clients, and you're almost assured some results.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So if you had to, if you had, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said it's a good way to take it, in a different direction.
You know what? It's not even in a different direction. You're headed to the same outcome, which is filling the funnel. It's just sometimes you got to take a highway, sometimes you've got to take a dirt road, sometimes you got to climb a ladder, sometimes you got to swim it. I was lazy. I didn't want to take the path of, I didn't want to take the path that was going to be the hardest. And going out and soliciting myself to realtors was never my strong suit. I've got some LOs who absolutely get high on that. And I'm like, you're crazy. That's just not me. I never really bonded well with large numbers of realtors. I had my 5 that were my core. But beyond that, I realized that for me, I'd rather come into the office and add value to 30 to 50 people a month because I managed their relationship, I connected with them and helped them in ways, and they honored me in return. And I think you could accomplish that very easily if you just simply plugged into a strategy that you consistently committed to, calling 3 to 5 of your past clients a day and just be Sue on the telephone and ask. That's the other piece of it. The trick is you can communicate with people and have conversations all day long, But the end result is that you have to be able to communicate what your need is. And the best way I've found, and a lot of other people have found, is when you hear the word of gratitude coming from the person you're speaking to, that's your moment to turn around and go, thanks for noticing. Remember, I'm counting on people just like you. I would love to work with people you care about. And if you happen to run into somebody, or you remember or know somebody who could use some great mortgage advice, I'll ask that you don't keep me a secret. Can you do that for me? And I've never in my entire career had anybody say no to me. So there was no hesitation. There was no fear. My biggest hang-up was, I don't know what I'm going to say when I talk to them. Well, I accomplished getting over that fear by creating that wall of, my Triangle of Trust affiliate network.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good.
But I think you could probably come up with, and you probably have a limitless supply of things that you could talk to people about, Sue, right?
Pretty much.
I don't think any of us are short in conversation. I just think that the lowest hanging fruit in our business is our database. And if you ever feel like you're not getting enough from the other pillars, that was my go-to. And I think anybody that's listening to this call would probably agree with me. If you don't have we do Thor's Hammer with our realtors, but we don't do anything specific with our past clients. And those are the people that know us, like us, trust us, and in all fairness, would gladly help us if we ask.
Right.
And I wonder why that is.
Well, I think if you think of it from a salesman point of view, you talk about closing the sale, because you have the closing, everything is almost closure. So I think that we're not thinking about a future relationship, even though we mail to them and we whatnot. But I think closure, So,
Right. Think about that. That's a really good. Yeah, right. That's a really good point. My closings, my team and I never refer to it as a closing. We always refer to it as a celebration. And I know that sounds kind of corny, but we always refer to it as the celebration because it was a culmination of everything that was going into it, and it wasn't the end, it was the beginning, because my past clients became very vital to my business. So I think all of us, when we close a transaction, feel like it's the end and that we need to move on. The truth is, if you think about that person and how much personal information and how privileged we are to have worked with them, and realize that they trust us at such a high level, and if we're going to the closing table and everybody's happy, why are we not using that as a means to build a future business around that person? Because they have coworkers, they have friends, they have family, they've got neighbors now. It's an endless supply of people that if they talk about you to the people in their life, it's almost assured that if you ask, they're willing to do it.
Right. I agree.
So my challenge between now and next time we talk in 2 weeks would be really to either reach out to me and we can come up with a very specific strategy on how to separate your clients and who you're going to talk to and come up with a very structured process. Even if you don't have it that formalized, my opinion would be if you're not talking to at least 3 to 5 of your past clients a day, you're missing out on a huge part of your business. Now, anybody that's just gotten into the business like Mike Smith or anybody else who doesn't have a large database doesn't have that luxury. But for us that are seasoned, that have been in the business a while, it's a great pillar to pull from. And it's one that just sits there waiting to be harvested. And we sometimes just overlook it and don't really realize how valuable it is.
Yeah, that's
so
good point.
What do you think, Sue? How many, if you were to call your past clients, let's say you were to call 3 of them a day, so that's 15 a week times, so that's what, 60 a month? Mm-hmm. How many months would it take for you to get through your A clients? People that really rave about you.
Well, the sad thing about my database is, I started like before cell phones became popular. Yes, y'all, I'm old. I started in 1989 or 94.
Wow.
And,
Okay. That's
so
fine.
I don't have a lot of phone numbers from way back when. I have addresses. So I've actually just talked with my coordinator about helping me to even Facebook friend individually some of the people that are not, this is pre-Facebook, pre-cell phone. I want to sound like a damn dinosaur, but
trust me, you're not alone in that category at all.
So I have about 300 phone numbers for past clients, three to 350 phone numbers for the 1,100 past clients that I have. So, and just
all right. So let's just start with the 300. How long do you think at 15 a week, it would take you 5 months to get through the 300?
Yeah, I was gonna say about 20 to 30 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. So if you decided to do that, that means that you easily could reach out to your past clients twice a year. 3 phone calls a day, twice a year. And you could really come up with a conversation to have with a past client twice a year. There would be no issues with that. That wouldn't be over the top, and you'd still be getting them the newsletter and anything else that you may accomplish. I'm here to tell you that the more time that you invest in communicating with your past clients, the rate of return is far better than realtors, and the conversion ratio, which means that the number of people you have to talk to compared to the number of people you have to talk to with realtors is a lot higher. So you may get 5 referrals from realtors and you may get 5 referrals from past clients. You'll probably close more past client referrals than you do realtor referrals.
Okay. Yeah,
that's been my experience. What's that?
I said I need to track it better too. Use the tracking form and track it a little bit better where this comes from.
Well, and it helps you understand where you're really good at. There's a sweet spot that we all have. Some people love cold calling on realtors. That was not my sweet spot. My sweet spot was my past clients. So when I woke up every day and came into my business, I focused on my current client referrals and I focused on my past clients. That was really where I drove my business. And the beautiful part was when you're the person that comes with a pre-approval and it doesn't come from a realtor, you're the one in the control who decides where and what agent they use. I got really good at steering my clients to the right realtors. I referred 25 purchase transactions to my 5 realtors in 2012, and that didn't include any listings. That was just on the buy side.
That's awesome.
But it speaks to when you look at your database, if you get the referral from your client and they don't have an affiliation with a realtor, guess what you become to your realtor base? You become the goose that lays the golden egg.
Absolutely.
Now you don't have to worry about being the commodity. Now you don't have to worry about being as good as your last transaction. You become somebody of significant value to the agent because now you're answering the fear that they always deal with. Where do I get my next deal from? So that's really my 2 cents. I really thought long and hard about what our conversation today was going to be about, and previously in some of my other calls this week, a lot of LOs are going through something similar. So they're like, yeah, just not as busy as I would hope to be. Some of my realtors aren't producing like they used to. And I think one of the things that we get so caught up in is just doing what is acceptable. Like we do what everybody else is talking about. How many LOs do you hear talking about mining their database? It's not really glamorous, right? It's not the in thing to do.
Right. Exactly.
But I will tell you, some of the most successful loan officers that I know have very strong strategies when it comes to mining their database.
That sounds good. That's a good plan. For sure.
Okay, so over the next 2 weeks, whoever's on this call, I would love to talk about what your strategies are, what your successes have been over the last 2 weeks in relationship to your database. And maybe I'm flying a kite. Maybe I'm so off base and the bus is, the train has left the station and nobody gets business from their database anymore. But I have a hard time believing that.
Hey, Doug, it's Lonnie. I'm going to commit to doing that.
What's that?
I'm going to commit to calling every one of my past clients that is in my database.
Okay, over the next 2 weeks, just make a commitment to call 3 to 5 of them a day.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that will take care of my whole database because I don't have a huge one.
But if you make the commitment, again, it isn't we got to be specific. Yesterday, somebody said, well, my goal is to have 10 phone calls a day. I don't want the busyness factor to be how you judge yourself. I don't want the 10 phone calls or the 3 to 5 phone calls. I want 3 to 5 connections with your database. Meaning I want you to reach out and have a conversation with 3 to 5 people in your database a day. That might take you 10 phone calls. It might take you 3 phone calls. And then the conversation is defined as you communicating with them and earning the right to hear some gratitude. They have to thank you. Otherwise, it's going to feel very salesy if you ask them for anything. And the moment they say, hey, thanks for calling, or hey, thank you, or that was awesome, I appreciate that, whatever, they're bound to say thank you. I guarantee it. Your culmination of the phone call ends with, thanks for noticing. Please remember, I'm counting on people just like you to refer me to the people they care about. Please don't keep me a secret. That's it. That's how you end every phone call. And that means that all you're doing is keeping yourself top of mind with them, and you're saying it in a way that's very genuine and sincere and very relationship based, because anybody who knows you guys would love to help you if you ask. Just keep reminding them, okay?
Awesome.
All right, guys, enjoy your weekend with your family and friends. Have some fun, and I look forward to talking to you guys next time. I'm out.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
See you guys.